Swordmaster VR is a game in development for Roomscale VR. I was lucky enough to get a beta key, a Steam beta key from the developer, Master Indie, so thank you for that. We're gonna take a quick look at some of the fights I had in this game. So right away we go into the menu, and you've got 3 difficulty levels. Each one has different requirements. For instance, how hard you need to swing your sword, how accurate you need to be, and how much health the enemies have. And here's the, we passed the level select menu, and here's the sword select menu. I've already unlocked a few of these, but I'm gonna pick the short sword because it's one of my favorites. And each sword has different attributes, like how much bonus you get for a perfect swing, how much it weighs, I'm not sure what that means, and how long it is and stuff. So here's the first fight. Now my play space is pretty small, it's 1.5 meters by 2. This game plays best with a bit larger play space, but don't let that stop you from checking it out, because even in a small play space it's pretty fun. You just have to really be careful where you swing at. I made the mistake of playing with my chaperone off. I usually keep it off, I just keep the play space floor limit on. I should have turned it on for this, because you'll see me making a few mistakes, hitting a few things. My poor hamster cage. So I really like the combat in this game. Sure, it can be improved, but it's got a lot of potential. I like the fact that you can effectively block the enemy's swings, and they will react accordingly with their arm. Their body will react the way you hit it. It's not canned. The attack animation might be canned, but the way they react is dynamic, and I really like that. One thing you'll notice is the enemy is quite a bit larger than you and has a much longer sword than yours, so you have to keep that in mind. A lot of my swings, when I first started playing the game, a lot of my swings weren't connecting. I wasn't really realizing that. I thought just as they could reach me, I could reach them, but that wasn't the case, so I had to wait until they moved in. They've got weak spots, I think, on their stomachs, maybe their waist, I'm not sure yet. The developer said they're gonna be adding an easier way to tell what the weak spot is, what the unarmored areas are on their bodies by the way their metal shines. Here I pick probably what's my favorite sword right now in the game, the rapier. I like stabby, thin, slicey swords. So you'll notice here I keep my hand behind my back. This is proper form when you're using a one-handed sword, but you keep your hand on your hip or behind your back. But I also have it behind my back because I'm holding my Vive cable in place. I'm keeping it away from my feet because I have to twirl a lot and I don't want to get tangled in my feet. The enemy makes these big swings, and I think the game expects you to do the same. At expert difficulty, you have to really swing hard and wide for it to register full damage. Personally, I'm not really into that. I prefer quick, precise hits like you usually do in realistic combat, like HEMA and stuff. These big wide swings aren't really realistic, in my opinion. But they make for easier play because you can really they really telegraph their attacks, so you can react to them easier. Here's what it looks like from my point of view. And by the way, I really like that the spectator window, the desktop window shows you, different camera views. I like that because it lets you see how you're fighting, it lets you see your fighting style and what you can improve. And it's also pretty cool to watch. So here we're having a 2 versus 1 fight. Oh, I finished them really quickly there. I got lucky. Usually it doesn't happen that fast. Ideally, I'd like to have a shield, especially because they have shields. Especially when you're fighting more than one enemy. I'd like to have a shield so I can cover one side and fight on the other, or push them away. And generally speaking, it's just way better to have a shield. I'd rather have a shield than fight one-handed or, you know, dual wielding. Dual wielding is not a really valid tactic in real life. And here I use the thrust to try and keep one of them away. So you kind of have to wait for him to close in on you when you have a small play space. Oh, 3 versus 1. This is really tough when you're in a small play space. You can't really maneuver. You can't try and step away from them, so none of them is to your back. So here I always have at least one of them behind me. But what can you do? It's still really fun though. So now I just try to finish them off as quickly as possible. Here's one down, another down in one hit, and that's pretty rare. I think by this point I was starting to get tired. This game is really physically intense. I really like it for that. It's one of the more physically intense games, VR games that I've played. Probably up there with Thrill of the Fight and Hollow Point. And you see here, they kind of just went off to the side with the canned animation. It kind of takes you out of the game, but you know, as long as you're at arm's length of each other, the combat feels more real. And he's down. Those big twirls they make, they're really funny. They're easy to block. It's just not a move anyone would make in real combat. Another 3 versus 1, and yeah, here I was really on my toes. I was really trying to keep track of all of them, get rid of one of them as quickly as possible. One thing that can be improved in the game is how the enemies look. They're kind of, you know, lumpy, and the models could use a lot of refinement. They also don't have necks, which I'd really rather have a neck that I can go for, because I usually target the neck in melee. I think this is the fight where my controller's wrist strap finally snapped and went flying off. And by this point I was really tired, and my hand was not gripping the controller as tight. I do get some nice blocks though in this fight. Block, block. And I think it's somewhere around here. See, my swings are kind of wild and wide. Here it goes. And whoosh. just went flying. I think here I panicked and I took off my headset. I looked for it. I couldn't even find it for a little while. I eventually found it, and it fell into a plastic bag on top of some stuff. And thankfully it's not damaged. It fell somewhere soft. It's not even the worst hit it's taken so far. I mean, I've hit my controllers pretty hard on my bookshelves, which are right at the edge of my play space in other games, and they're still fine. They're a bit dented, but they're fine. So yeah, here's the game. Swordmaster VR is still in development. It's currently in beta 0.2, 0.3 to come out sometime soon. It's got a lot of potential. I really like it already. I think it's got a lot of room to grow. I think they can add a lot of stuff. I don't know. My biggest suggestion is shields, but I also think maces and stuff like that would be really cool. More variety in enemies, different kinds of enemies. I know there's a boss fight. I haven't really progressed that far into the game yet. Others have finished it. There's a boss fight at the end. I haven't reached that yet. And some big ass swords that you can fight with, which are pretty epic looking. But I think at the end of that video, I was really tired. I just crashed into bed. But I really had a lot of fun. This is going to be a game that I come back to very often, and I'll be demoing it to a lot of friends. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you to Master Indie for sending me the key. If you like this video, please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos on VR and gaming in general. And thank you for watching.